Dating's not hard. You're just undateable. This is a very hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but it's more and more true once you stop to think about it and once you just look at the reality of the world. Um, when you think about what dating is, what marriage is, what relationships are, it's basically I like you, you like me, let's do life together. Meaning, I'm going to pay bills anyway, but I'd rather pay them with you. I'm going to eat anyway, but I'd rather eat with you. I'm going to do life. I'm going to live. I'm going to live and I'm going to die, but I would prefer to do that with you, right? That's the basis of relationships, at least in our culture, at Western society. We typically, most of our dating and romantic relationships are at-will relationships, meaning that we don't live in a culture that has arranged marriages, typically. We don't live in a culture where the social norm is we get married for love. Now, ironically, that's probably a novel reason to get married or to do long-term relationships, because up until like the last 250, 275, 300 years, most humans did not get married for love. They thought love was too fickle of an idea to base something as important as marriage on. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. But when you look at the basis of what relationships are, it's literally just, hey, I like you, you like me, let's do life together. And so if you're having a hard time on the dating market, if you're having a hard time partnering, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you want to swallow that pill or not, it might be because you're not a great partner. You're not a great partner. And nobody wants to believe that. Everybody wants to believe that somebody else is the problem. Like, if you look at podcasts, if you look at dating gurus, relationship coaches, everybody's blaming everybody else, right? The men are going, oh, the women aren't submissive enough. We like traditional women, blah, 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 feminism. And the women are going, oh, well, the men, they're abusive. That's a deal. Abuse, either way, is an issue. But they're broke. They ain't got no motion. They this, that. Like, when you listen to single people talk about, dating and all that stuff, it just comes down to a bunch of selfish reasons. And when you start to look at it, most people don't actually want to be in a relationship. They don't want a partnership. They don't want to be somebody's partner. What they want to be is, if you listen to a lot of the men talk, they basically want employees that they can fuck. To keep it a stack, they want employees that they can fuck. When you listen to men talk about how, oh, I want a submissive woman, a woman who cooks, cleans, who's going to obey, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, you don't want a relationship with a woman. You don't want a woman to step into your life and challenge you to be great, and insert her ideas, emotions, and opinions on how you should direct your life. You don't actually want to do life with her. You want to employ her for your life, and you want to have sexual access to her, right? If you listen to a lot of the women talk today about dating, a lot of them, they don't want partnership. They don't want to be in relationship with a man. They don't want to do life with a man. They essentially want an emotional support blanket who's going to be an ATM for them. They want somebody who is going to support all their emotions, right, wrong, or indifferent. Want someone who's always going to be reassuring to them, whether they're in the right or whether they're in the wrong. And someone who's going to provide for them. And so most people who are complaining about the dating market, they're the market, right? Like, partnering is not difficult. It's just that we now live in a society that incentivizes selfishness. We're at a point in Western civilization where it's the cult of the individual. It's all about the individual self. It's all about you. You even hear a lot of the dating advice. People will go, hey, if this relationship doesn't serve you, or, then get rid of it. It's like, wait a second. In what world do relationships have to serve you? Right? Like, we talk about it in my relationship all the time. This ain't about me. This ain't about you. This is about us. So it doesn't matter what's best for me in my relationship. It doesn't matter what's best for her in our relationship. It matters what's best for us. Now, yes, there will come time periods where she needs to put me first. And there will be time periods where I need to put her first. And if we both recognize these moments and we both are committed to that, we'll be fine. It doesn't mean that we won't have issues or we won't have fights. We won't have things like that. But it means that as long as we both can stay committed to the relationship itself, we'll be fine. And a lot of people, they don't get that. They think that the relationship is just supposed to benefit them. People forget that the benefit of the relationship is the relationship. So if your relationship, if how you guys exist together is not good, is not solid, then yeah, that relationship is not going to be good. But that's because the relationship's not good. And I think a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people want to make the relationship about the byproduct of the relationship. So happiness is a byproduct of a healthy relationship. Joy, a great sex life, dates, feeling safe and secure and comfortable in your relationship. These are byproducts of a good relationship with a person, right? You can get many of those things from other relationships that aren't romantic, but you get those because the relationship is good, not because you were pursuing that in the relationship. And I think a lot of people go into relationship pursuing things that just benefit them. And it just doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, the only way to have a long-term relationship is to be in a long-term relationship. Like, that's it. You just got to be committed for that long. That means good, bad, and ugly. Like, a lot of people don't think about the marriage vows, right? The marriage vows are for better or for worse, which means this. It means that if let's say whoever's watching this, if me and you got married, right? That means the marriage vows say that if I make your life worse, you stay with me. For richer or for poor. If I make you poor, if being with me is financially, it's to your detriment financially, you stay with me. Right? Like, that's the part of long-term relationships that we've really gotten away from. Now, you don't need, to do a formal ceremony or get the government involved to be that committed to a person, but it takes that level of commitment to make a long-term relationship work. And the problem is a lot of people, they don't want that. They don't want that. And, I don't speak as someone who's gotten it all right. I don't speak as I'm holier than thou. Like, I've been divorced. So I can talk about this from firsthand experience, where the 6 months prior to us separating, I went to therapy every single Tuesday. And we talked about the same thing, which was that, I know I'm not happy in this relationship because I was the one who filed for divorce. It's like, I know I'm not happy in this relationship, but I said I do, and I want to be able to say I did. It's that simple. It was that simple for me. And my ex-wife will never believe it, but until she gave me a way out, I was not going to divorce, not because I was happy being her husband, or not because I was, it brought me a bunch of satisfaction. It didn't. But I had said I do, and I wanted to be able to say I did. And it's still one of my regrets, right? That I was not able to complete that relationship, but I also accept that I made that decision, right? Like, you'll hopefully, I stay like this, and you'll never hear me blame my ex-wife for why things didn't work out between us. You might hear me talk about why I felt like we weren't compatible, or why things broke down, or why it didn't work. But to outright blame her, that doesn't make sense to me. And the reason why it doesn't make sense to me is because I'm no longer with her. Why am I giving her any authority or responsibility in my life now? Right? So a lot of you guys, you're hung up on what your ex did. And it's like, why does your ex still have so much sway and influence on your life, and you haven't talked to this person in months and years or whatever, and you're still blaming your ex? No, you're not single because of your ex. You're not single because of the trauma or the hurt. You're single because you're undateable. Like, people can't date you. And that goes to a lot of things. Right? That goes to a lot of things. And I know we live in a culture where everybody races towards the bottom, right? Where everybody's in a rush to be the victim, right? Because the victim gets, social approval. The victim, you can't victim blame. But the reality of it is, your relationship, again, unless it was an arranged marriage, is your relationships. I say this to people all the time. It's like, a person's individual behavior is their responsibility. Okay? A person's individual behavior is their responsibility. But at all points of the relationship, during the good, bad, and ugly moments, both people are 100% responsible for the condition of the relationship, because the condition of the relationship is never just on one person. It can't be. The condition, the overall status of the relationship, whether the relationship is healthy or unhealthy, good or bad, or enjoyable or not enjoyable, that's dependent upon two people. No one person can determine the quality or the condition of a relationship. And there's a lot of people who run around thinking like, yo, I was great to that man, or I was great to that woman, and it just didn't work out. Where clearly, this is going to sound fucked up, you weren't great to them, or you weren't great enough. I don't want to say enough. I think it's more so you just weren't great to them. And the question you need to ask yourself is, why did you think you were being a great partner to that person, but that person didn't think you were being a great partner to them? And that's a tough pill to swallow. That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. And a lot of people don't want to swallow that pill. A lot of people don't want to swallow that pill, because swallowing that pill means that, you could have did something different. And when you want to see yourself as a good person, when you want to see yourself as a good partner, or when you want to see yourself as the victim of a relationship, that doesn't sit well, right? Now, again, everybody will probably want to go to the extreme example. What about abuse? What about this? What about that? We're not talking about that, right? Obviously, again, a person's individual actions is their responsibility. So if somebody abused you, right? If somebody did something, violated you, broke your consent in a way, and you tried to assert your boundaries or whatever, and they just, disregarded your boundaries, that's a separate issue. And I feel like a lot of people try to make everybody makes their exes sound bad. Everybody makes their, like, I just refuse to believe where all of our exes are narcissists. I just refuse to believe it. Like, there's just no way. There's no way all of us are dating narcissists. But if you look if you look up relationship videos, every third one is about what to do with a narcissist. It's like, how is everybody dating a narcissist? No, the ironic part, a lot of times the people who are claiming other people are narcissists are the narcissists themselves. And they don't want to see it. They don't want to see how undateable they actually are. Like, you may be a good person in your eyes, but that doesn't mean that you know how to cooperate with a person. You don't know how to operate with another human being. And if you don't know how to cooperate with another human being, you're not a good partner. Doesn't matter how generous you are, how nice you are. If you don't know how to cohabitate, cooperate with another person, it's impossible for you to be a good partner. It's not possible for you to be a good partner. And so it's just something to think about today. Just something to think about is, stop looking at everybody else. Stop looking at what other people did or didn't do to you. Stop looking at the dating market and going, the dating market is whatever. Start looking at yourself and going, in what ways am I undateable? Right? I used to tell men this. I still do this, and I want to get back into it. Is I used to do like personal coaching, right, with people and help people like one-on-one, because that's the other thing. I'm trying not to make this too long, but there's a lot of generic dating advice, and the reality of it is like, if you want help in the dating market or in your relationship, you need to get with someone that you can talk with your specific issues about, right? I say this all the time. There's no blueprint for love. But there's principles. So teamwork or cooperation is a principle, but how that manifests with your partner is going to be different than how that's going to manifest with my partner, or how it manifests in one relationship may be different than how it manifests in another relationship. So that's a big thing. But I was headed somewhere, but I forgot what I was about to say. But one thing I used to tell guys is, instead of going out into the dating market and going, this is what I want in a woman, I'm looking for these qualities in a woman, look at it from the opposite side. Look at it from their side and write down, what are the 5 qualities somebody's going to need to spend the rest of their life with you. So start looking at your flaws, start looking at your weaknesses and going, okay, if someone needed to live with me for the rest of their life, if they had to, in what ways is that going to be difficult for them? And if you can't list real, tangible, practical ways that it would be difficult to be your partner, you're out of touch. Like you're just not in touch, right? Like, I know for me, when I believe something, it's very hard to get me to, not believe it. And so I've noticed in the past, like, I can exasperate my partners because I'll believe something and I'll be like, nope, this is it, right? And part of that is because I do the legwork before I get to a belief. I'm constantly questioning my beliefs. And so when I finally believe in something, I'm like, nope, this is it. And even though a lot of times I'm right in my beliefs, I say this too, you can be right or you can be in a relationship, but you can't be both, right? Like, it's not possible to always be the person who's right and then maintain a relationship, because if you're perfect, the fact that somebody else is not perfect is going to annoy you. And if you think you're perfect, the fact that you think you're perfect is going to annoy your partner. So there's no way you can be right even a majority of the time in a relationship and it's going to turn out healthy or well or good or anything like that. And so you need to be able to look at yourself and go, okay, in what ways do I make being with me difficult? And list those 5 things. What are the 5 qualities a woman or a man or whoever you want to date it needs to have to spend the rest of their life with you? So take that with you today. If it helped you, I don't know where I'm going to upload this, probably YouTube or something. But like it, comment, share, subscribe, wherever platform we're on, and I'll keep them coming.